Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Wednesday, April 24th. I'm Abby Larico. NPR's Sarah McCammon recently released a book detailing evangelical Christianity's impact on American politics and how young people are leaving the faith.
I found my work intersecting with my personal background in ways I didn't really expect, but felt like I wanted to explore.
Coming up on The Gateway, St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum talks with McCammon about her book, The Exvangelicals, Loving, Living, and Leaving the White Evangelical Church. Missouri and Illinois' U.S. senators split on a foreign aid package to help Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Missouri Senators Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt voted against the roughly $95 billion bill, which was sent yesterday to President Joe Biden. Schmidt, in particular, was upset that senators had little ability to amend the package. But Illinois Senator Dick Durbin says the aid legislation was worthwhile, especially to help Ukraine repel Russia's invasion of its territory.
Make no mistake. China, Iran, and North Korea are watching to see if the United States and our allies allow Russia's aggression to stand.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth also voted for the bill. Both Schmidt and Hawley have advocated against aid to Ukraine, questioning whether the money will change the outcome of the war and also contending Congress should debate other issues. A prominent and longtime vacant property in the heart of downtown St. Louis may soon see new life now that the city has indicated it may use eminent domain on it. St. Louis Public Radio's Eric Schmidt reports the Millennium Hotel has sat empty since 2014.
The two buildings on the property are sandwiched between the Arch Grounds and Busch Stadium. Steve Smith is the CEO of Lawrence Group Architects and New and Found Development. He says he doesn't normally advocate for demolishing buildings, but there is a good opportunity to add density to the site.
Because it's on literally every postcard of the Arch, take it for the east side, it's an opportunity to present St. Louis as the progressive, forward-thinking city that it is.
The Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority Board first brought up the possibility of a blighting study and redevelopment plan last month, but that was tabled because a draft wasn't complete. Millennium Hotels and Resorts says it's working with the city to speed up the redevelopment process and avoid eminent domain. I'm Eric Schmidt, St. Louis Public Radio.
The American Lung Association's latest air quality report released today gives low scores to parts of Missouri and Illinois. In Illinois, Madison County earned failing grades for its levels of ozone, or smog, and long-term particulate matter, like soot. In Missouri, St. Louis City and Jefferson County earned Ds for smog. St. Louis City and Jackson County both earned Ds for particulate matter pollution. Association spokesperson Dr. Juanita Mora says particulate matter poses grave health risks for asthma, heart attacks, and other health problems.
To the brain, so cognitive delays, strokes are at risk as well too. And also it's lung cancer that we fear as well too with long-term pollution.
The American Lung Association says more than 39% of people in the U.S. live in areas with poor air quality. Spikes in particulate matter levels are mostly to blame. City Park is barely more than a year old, but it's already tearing up and replacing its grass. St. Louis Public Radio's Jonathan Ahl reports the stadium that hosts St. Louis's Major League Soccer team is trying to be proactive.
A tractor is pulling a large machine that's tearing up the pitch at City Park, sending the grass and about 2 inches of dirt into a container to be hauled away and composted. Josh McPherson is the director of stadium grounds at City Park. He says the grass is near the end of its practical life, and the hot St. Louis summer could lead to its death and be unsafe for the players.
We do this for the team, right? So we're proactively changing it out before we have an issue, before we have a major injury. Their response to it is what we're looking for, Hopefully it's favorable.
The $500,000 project comes as City SC won't have its next home game until May 11th. McPherson says he hopes to get 2 to 3 years of life out of the sod that will be installed by the end of the week. I'm Jonathan Ahl, St. Louis Public Radio.
Billions of cicadas will surface above ground in the St. Louis region in May. The insect is known for its red eyes and loud mating call. St. Louisans will see brood 19 for the first time in 13 years. They last made their appearance in 2011. Nicole Priest is the invertebrate keeper at the Sophia M. Sachs Butterfly House. Priest says if you're brave enough, You can even eat them.
Usually we'll try to collect them right after they emerge from the ground and have molted, so their exoskeleton is still kind of soft, similar to a soft-shell crab. But you can also eat them after their exoskeleton is hardened in the adult stage.
Brood 13 will also emerge at the same time across the Midwest, a first since Thomas Jefferson was the president. Priest made her comments on St. Louis on the Air. NPR National Political correspondent Sarah McCammon recently released The Exvangelicals, Loving, Living, and Leaving the White Evangelical Church. It is part memoir and part exploration into the role evangelicals play in politics. In a conversation with St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum, McCammon first talked about how her book connected with a wide audience, including people who didn't grow up evangelical like her.
One of the themes of this book is just really trying to make sense of the world, and especially in a society where, you know, we have this wonderful, diverse, pluralistic country that's made up of so many different cultures and religions and backgrounds. And how do we contend with our differences? How do we make sense of those? We all have our traditions that mean something to us and our backgrounds. And sometimes the things that we're told might not align with the things that we observe or experience. And so I think it is, a journey that many people can relate to, whether or not they grew up evangelical. I grew up evangelical. It's a particularly influential movement in this country in our politics. And so I found my work intersecting with my personal background in ways I didn't really expect, but felt like I wanted to explore.
I remember the Clinton impeachment vividly as an older millennial, and how many people in the evangelical community and religious right called on him to resign, said what he was doing was immoral and wrong. And yet when Donald Trump came along, it seems like a lot of people are willing to look past that.
I remember that vividly. You know, I was 17 in 1998 when the Clinton-Lewinsky stuff was happening. And I write in the book about, I happened to be a Senate page in D.C. right as this was sort of heating up just after the news broke. And, you know, I have such clear memories of people like James Dobson, who was the founder of Focus on the Family and remains an influential evangelical leader in the political sphere, but really started out as sort of a family psychologist type of person. Dobson and others being very vocally critical of Clinton and saying things like character matters. You know, we have to have a president who exhibits moral character. And I mean, this isn't news, but I remember it so well because I was inside that world. And so then to fast forward to 2015-16 and to be covering the Trump campaign, I was just curious, you know, how would my former community respond to this? And it was such a different response. And that really is kind of what the story was about that I was reporting when I first heard the word Exvangelical. I was interviewing evangelical women right after the release of the Access Hollywood video, some of whom were saying, look, you know, this is a community that's talked about purity and monogamy and fidelity, and even this isn't too much. And I think there was a real sense for some of disillusionment and betrayal.
This book is intensely personal. It features details about your childhood, your teenage years, your relationships, your professional life. Was there any difficulty in incorporating so much of yourself into this book?
Yes, absolutely.
Explain why.
I mean, I lost sleep over that. Like, how much should I say? How much should I disclose? You know, I've had a lot of time to sit with it, and I narrated the audiobook in December and had time, you know, I'd had some distance from the manuscript because really the last many months are just revisions and editing. And just going through it from front to back, I really felt like, yeah, I said what I needed to say. You know, a couple things. I have covered so many issues as a journalist where people bare their souls for me. They talk to me when they're unemployed. They talk to me when they're having an abortion. They talk to me when their house has been destroyed by a hurricane. And I thought, I know the power of telling your truth. And I thought, if I'm going to do a book that is about why people break, often painfully, from their religious traditions, I needed to tell the truth. And so, you know, unsurprisingly, some of the things that caused me to make that break were very painful. And I do talk about them.
That was NPR's Sarah McCammon talking with St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum about her book, The Exvangelicals. Our Fred Ehrlich edited that report. You can listen to more of McCammon's interview on stlpr.org. Today is Cedric the Entertainer's 60th birthday. Before the world knew him as an actor, television host, author, one of the original kings of comedy, and, well, all-around entertainer, Cedric Antonio Kiles was a St. Louisan. And he insists he still is, even if he spends more time in Hollywood these days. The Missouri native sponsors a scholarship fund for metro area high schoolers. In this conversation from St. Louis on the Air back in 2014, he shares why.
There is this limitation that happens when you don't see a way out. And because my mother was going to school, she would often take my sister and I to a college campus, and I just kind of remember seeing the buildings and the majestic buildings and the rolling hills and, the kids with, so much energy and laughing and having a great time. And it was one of these things that I felt like that to be able to provide, kids an opportunity to get away, to be able to change their circumstances, to not only just their personal circumstances, but even the plight of their family.
The scholarship has contributed more than $150,000 to student education. Happy birthday, Mr. Entertainer. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a member-supported service of the University of Missouri-St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Abby Larico, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.